thank you for joining us on Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguwele. Today, Nigeria commemorates the National Police Day, an event dedicated to honoring the brave men and women of the Nigeria Police Force who selflessly serve the nation, protect communities and uphold the rule of the law. President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, describes the event as a recognition of sacrifices and commitment demonstrated daily by officers across the country. Security correspondent Francis Pham reports.
Taking off your wonderful models, please.
In a colorful display of unity, officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force gathered in their numbers at the Eagle Square to commemorate the first ever National Police Day. The event features ceremonial parades, march past, display of air and land assets, showcasing the professionalism, resilience, and sacrifice of personnel. President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, notes that the Nigeria Police Force is a critical part of the nation's internal security architecture, the first line of defense against crime and disorder.
I reaffirm this administration's steadfast dedication to the welfare and empowerment of the Nigeria Police Force. A secure Nigeria is vital for our collective prosperity. This day serves to highlight your invaluable service and to honor the officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. To their families, we extend our deepest condolences and our unwavering commitment to preserving their legacy.
Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun praised the dedication and commitment of officers across the country, noting that the National Police Day is a reminder of the crucial role the force plays in maintaining peace and security.
The declaration of April 7th as National Police Day is not a mere ceremonial gesture. It is a testament to the inestimable value of the Nigerian Police Force to the preservation of national unity and democratic stability. It is a bold affirmation of your administration's support for institutional reform and capacity enhancement of our personnel.
The most important thing is to call on every Nigerian to cooperate with the police so that they will be able to assist and support the efforts of securing the nation.
The police efforts have been recognized officially by the federal government, and therefore it is celebrating and recognizing the efforts of those who are in service, those who have retired, and even those who have died in active service.
We thank the President for recognizing the fact that the police need to have a national day in which all their successes, their sacrifices are recognized.
Going forward, April 7th will be observed annually as National Police Day in Nigeria. The event serves not only as a tribute to those who wear the uniform, but also a reaffirmation of the force's commitment to serving and protecting the Nigerian people. Francis Pham, NTA News.
The Minister of Police Affairs, Ibrahim Gaidam, has stressed the need to upskill interagency collaboration and intelligence sharing among security agencies to address Nigeria's multi-dimensional security challenges. The minister stated this at the 2025 Army War College Nigeria Interagency Security Seminar, a critical component of Module 3 of the Army War College curriculum, and provided a platform for knowledge sharing and policy dialogue to improve interagency synergy.
The effectiveness of our responses to stress and ultimately our success in ensuring the safety and security of our nation.
The current scale and complexity of modern conflicts across the world underscores the significant role that military operations play in restoring and maintaining peace and stability.
By working together more effectively, we can build a more responsive and adaptable security architecture to counter threats and safeguard national stability.
Now, Focus 9 2025 is designed as an expanded forum to promote interaction among stakeholders in the security sector and policy makers. Key stakeholders in Nigeria's oil sector are advocating for the continuation of the Naira for crude deal, citing its positive impact on fuel prices and the foreign exchange market. However, experts say it is a commercial transaction that must be premised on the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act of willing buyer, willing supply basis. Lydia Sampson reports.
The initiative, which began in October 2024, allows local refineries like Dangote to purchase crude oil in Naira, reducing reliance on dollar-denominated transactions. However, industry experts are calling for review of the model to align with international benchmarks.
Naira for crude is a good initiative, but we have to change model. 6 months to try, we need to put a short-run perspective.
Crude he was getting in Naira, it was not the supply he was getting from that source was not overwhelmingly covers the demand at the refinery.
The patron was very supportive and advocated very strongly that the Naira for crude should be, activated.
What will be most important is for Nigerians to be more knowledgeable, to stick with facts, and thereby making the decision-making and the governance process easier and better for everyone.
As talk progresses, stakeholders and Nigerians are hopeful for a balanced agreement that supports both local refining and international market standards. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Today is World Health Day, and a year-long campaign focused on maternal and newborn health is a target for nations in 2025 to end preventable deaths and prioritize women's long-term well-being. Elizabeth Omori, who was part of a health work in commemoration of the 2025 World Health Day, reports that the WHO urges nations to accelerate actions to save more lives through integrated health services.
As 2030 crawls in gradually, reducing maternal mortality ratio is expected to be less than 70 per 100,000 live births.
Some women, headache, all these kinds, small challenges of body pain, stomach pain, all these kind of things.
Critical actors in the health sector are optimistic that through universal access to sexual and reproductive health services, commitment to equitable, accessible and quality health care will reduce the prevalence of maternal mortality to the barest. Achieving this target informed this work to raise global attention to extend life expectancy.
Health is an outcome to everything we do, and I'd like to commend the Nigerian government for taking the stage to really initiate action to accelerate reduction of maternal and neonatal mortality.
Now, local governments are expected to play active parts in this area of improving primary health care to ensure that more of our people continue to have healthy beginnings for a hopeful future.
Poverty and inadequate community health workers, they say, pose risks to healthcare delivery. They recommend political commitment to public health. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has called on stakeholders and other Nigerians to work towards creating a world where mothers can safely give birth and children can live healthy to reach their full potential. She made the call in her message marking this year's World Health Day with the theme, Healthy Beginnings, Hopeful Futures. The First Lady, who notes with concern that far too many women and newborns lose their lives daily due to preventable complications during pregnancy, childbirth, and postnatal period, insists that no mother should have to risk her life to bring a child into the world, and no newborn should be denied a fair chance at survival. She also congratulated all health workers for their great sacrifices to make the world a healthier place. Again, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has been called upon to lead another health initiative in the country, this time for a campaign to eliminate cervical cancer. This was when a delegation from the National Task Force on Elimination of Cervical Cancer paid an advocacy visit to her office in the State House. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports that she kick-started her new role with the announcement of a 1 billion naira donation from Renewed Hope initiative to the partnership.
As the second most common cancer among women, with a grim figure of 8,000 deaths per year, cervical cancer is considered a major public health concern in Nigeria. Apart from implementing a nationwide HPV vaccination across the country, the National Task Force on Elimination of Cervical Cancer hopes to strengthen its cause with a three-pronged approach of early screening, vaccination, and treatment of victims. This advocacy visit is to further the realization of the task force objectives by enlisting the support of Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu.
This year, as part of the 2025 appropriation bill, we have the Renew Hope Health Connect, which is an initiative of Mr. President to take healthcare intervention closer to the people. And one of the things we are going to be doing as part of that Renew Hope Health Connect is population screening for cervical cancer.
And 8 by 8 means that we want to screen 8 million girls every year and vaccinate 8 million girls. At the end of 2030, we plan to vaccinate 40 million girls, screen 40 million women, and treat 10 million women with pre-cancers in Nigeria, and treat 60,000 women with cancer of the cervix.
We are pioneering the establishment of novel preventive oncology clinics, the first of its kind, designed to routinize cancer screening in our tertiary institution facilities.
Taking on the new responsibility, the First Lady pledged the willingness of our initiative to partner with the task force on the federal government proposed Renewed Hope Health Connect to guarantee access to screening and treatment.
I will start by pledging 1 billion to that. I'll tell you the reason. I also lost someone very close to us due to being quiet and the stigma attached to it. And she's supposed to be very educated and well known, and you wonder, why would you have left it so long?
The advocacy visit coincides with the 2025 World Earth Day celebration, and the First Lady was quick to note the significance of fighting cancer among women and the theme of the day.
There's no better cause than this. If it is a cause to save life, I will gladly do that over and over again. And like your theme today, which is healthy beginnings, we're starting healthy and is hopeful future. I believe that Mr. President wouldn't have picked more slogan for his administration than the Renewed Hope agenda. Our hopes as Nigerians have to be renewed. There's hope in this country.
There is a need for sustainability of cervical cancer screening program using HPV DNA test, which is recommended by WHO.
Within 9 months since the launch of the HPV vaccine in Nigeria, about 12.3 million women have been vaccinated across the country, with another 6 million targeted before the end of this year. In the State House, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
And since it's the World Health Day, no better time to talk about this killer, talking about the disease, cervical cancer, taking the lives of so many women. We have in the studio Professor Taiwo Adewale. He's the chairman, National Task Force on Elimination of Cervical Cancer and former Minister of Health. Thank you so much for joining us, Prof.
Thank you.
All right, the cervical cancer is a deadly disease and, of course, the second most common cancer amongst women. What would you say is Nigeria's response to this?
Thank you so much. Cervical cancer is the second most common cancer among our women, and we lose 8,000 women to cervical cancer every year. Our response is in consonance with the global agenda And the Federal Ministry of Health in August 2024 established a national task force on cervical cancer elimination. And that task force is keen and committed to implementing the 90-70-90 agenda of WHO. When we translate this to the national setting, we plan to vaccinate 8 million girls every year, screen 8 million girls every year, and at the end of the exercise, by 2030, we will have vaccinated 40 million girls and also screened 40 million women. In addition, we will have treated 10 million women with pre-cancers and 60,000 women with cancers.
Okay, Prof. It's good you really know the numbers, for the vaccination that should be carried out. But again, there's a burning issue. A lot of people are silent about it. They're not aware. And families, women in families go through that burden. How would you say the nation is helping, to support patients like that, especially in the aspect of funding?
Well, a key issue actually is awareness. And in a study done in Lagos, about 15% of our women are admitted knowing cervical cancer. So there is a huge gap in terms of information and knowledge. And we are committed to educating Nigerians about cervical cancer, about the causation, and also about the prevention of cervical cancer. One of our subcommittees, we have 10 of the subcommittees, one of our subcommittees is committed to promoting awareness and also educating Nigerians about cervical cancer.
Okay, so in terms of this education, some persons, who may not have the means to know where to go to because the awareness is very crucial, how would this new task force now that has been inaugurated to, help these people who are living in that gap?
The task force is putting together a partnership, the first of its kind in Nigeria, and that partnership comprises members of the task force, the National Primary Care Development Agency, National Health Insurance Authority, the WHO, Clinton Health Access Initiative, Forum of Commissioners of Health, spouses of governors, and also the Governors Forum. We all intend to work together to promote and spread this gospel across the nation. Our plan is to cover 12 states this year, 12 states next year, and by our third year, we will cover additional 13, making 37 states. So we will reach every state in this country with the message of cervical cancer, the message of prevention, the message of screening, and also make treatment services available.
And also the aspect of management, which may not be working for some Nigerian women, especially those that are dealing with triple cancer chemo. Would you quickly respond to that?
Well, one of our committees is actually committed to building human capital needed to manage this problem. And so that committee will also be involved in training people. We're also going to employ more Nigerians to join in order to address this issue. It's a whole complex game, and we are committed to getting tangible results out of the exercise.
Indeed, and it starts with early detection through screening. Thank you so much.
Oh, certainly.
Yes, thank you so much, Prof. He's the Chairman, National Task Force on Elimination of Cervical Cancer and former Minister of Health. Thank you, Prof, for coming on Nationwide.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
All right, let's turn to other issues. In an effort to strengthen broadcast collaborations and form strategic alliances, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has led a delegation of heads of government of agencies to the 2025 National Association of Broadcasters Conference and Workshop in Las Vegas, USA. With the theme, The Technology, the Trend, the Future. The workshop will cover a range of topics, including artificial intelligence, cloud visualization, the creative economy, and sports production and streaming. The minister is joined by key directors general and CEOs of Nigerian broadcasting agencies, including Comrade Salihu Abdulhamid Dambos, Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Mr. Ali Mohammed Ali, Managing Director of the News Agency of Nigeria, Charles Ebuebu, Director General, the National Broadcasting Commission, Dr. Lekon Fadolapo, Director General of the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, and Malam Jibrin Baba Ndachi, Director General, Voice of Nigeria. The National Association of Broadcasters Conference attracts thousands of industry leaders from around the world, and the Director, Media and Protocol, Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Suleiman Haruna, acknowledges that the meeting is part of strengthening Nigeria's broadcasting sector. In January this year, a total of 88 primary healthcare facilities were flagged off for upgrade across Kogi State, with an official completion deadline set for April 31st, 2025. In this report, our correspondent, Jonathan Omojali, takes a look at the progress of the work made so far in meeting the target.
When Kogi State Government, in collaboration with the World Bank's Impact Project, announced plans to upgrade 88 primary healthcare centers to Level 2 status, equipped with state-of-the-art medical equipment, staff quarters, constant electricity, clean water and round-the-clock security, it sounded almost too good to be true. Given the previously dire conditions of many of these facilities, the bold initiative was met with widespread excitement and hope. Day by day, the transformation is becoming a reality. Dilapidated buildings are being torn down and modern structures are rising in their place. While several sites have already been completed, construction continues at others.
This project is so surprising anyway, because we did not expect it when it came. They have been talking about it. We did not even thought that they would bring it this fast.
And they build where doctor can stay after work, both staff quarters. And they are planning to dig borehole too.
I can say on the average, we have achieved over 70 to 80%. We are charging them to ensure that they complete this project so that they can meet up with the deadline, which is suspected to be around 31st of April. Though there are some challenges, but we've been trying to see how we can navigate through to ensure that they meet up with the time frame.
As these ambitious projects promise to redefine healthcare in the state, residents look forward with anticipation to their completion. In Lokoja, Jonathan Omajali, NTA News.
All right, let's head to Lagos now as we join Awel for more reports on Nationwide.
Ruth, most streets in Lagos remained calm and peaceful despite the much anticipated protest organized by the group known as the Take It Back movement. Our correspondent who monitored several volatile and sensitive areas reports that Lagos residents were seen going about their normal day-to-day activities without being molested or disturbed by any form of protest.
A drive through the metropolis revealed that the peaceful protest, which commenced at the Ikeja underbridge and moved through Alausa and other parts of the city, was largely under control. Officers and men of the Nigeria police force were visibly on ground to maintain law and order and ensure that Lagosians continued their normal activities without interference. Reacting to the development, the spokesman of the Lagos State Police Command, Benjamin Hundeyi, cautioned protesters against any form of violence or disruption under the guise of protest.
We want Lagosians to know about their local businesses. The deployment they will see out there if they go out of their homes is not to cause panic, but to instill confidence in them that we are here to ensure that they are safe. And to the protesters too, we commend them for acting with decorum, and we also encourage them to continue to act with decorum and not take laws into their hands.
He also appealed to residents to remain calm and assured the public that the police were fully mobilized to prevent any breakdown of law and order. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
And away from the protest, Africa's quest for economic advancement is predicated upon having sustainable peace and good governance. The The deficit of this fundamental principle has kept the continent in the doldrum. Joel Popola reports that speakers at the 14th edition of the Pan-African Leadership Symposium, PALESH 2025, held at the Nigerian Institute for International Affairs, also echoed the need to inculcate traditional systems into its leadership structure.
The challenges bedeviling African countries are similar, and the United Nations International Peace and Governance Council is using the Pan-African Leadership Symposium, PALESH Nigeria 2025, which has more than 10 countries in attendance, to address the problems that have left the continent at the mercy of its colonial masters. With the theme Adaptive Leadership and Alternative Dispute Resolution Mechanism for Consolidating Peaceful Coexistence in Africa, the second global president, UNIPGC, Ambassador Jonathan Ojada, and other paper presenters say the unwanted narrative can be changed by adopting and getting traditional rulers involved in governance.
This is a wake-up call for our leaders to understand that this is not the time for separation, but as a wake-up call for them to know that we need to brace ourselves through unity.
The way and manner by which we can properly harness our economic resources is to come together to say no to the colonialists.
In his keynote address, Honorary Consul of Bermuda and Antigua to Nigeria, Brigadier General Williams Wallace urged African countries to jettison the division created by colonization and work for regional integration.
We had our own systems which ruled our nation states before. We must go back to it. We are calling it, and we've coined it, Africacy. Africans doing it for themselves, by themselves.
In a robust presentation, former Commandant Nigerian Army Signal Corps, Major General Dayo Lukoju retired, and Senator Grace Bent highlighted the nexus between good governance, security, and nation building, which they agreed is essential for speedy development. Distinguished personalities, including the President of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, who was represented, were conferred with the title of Grand Commander of Peace at the event. In Lagos, Joel Popola, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide will continue in Ibadan Network Center after this break. Don't go away.
Thank you for staying with us, and we can get to Ibadan right now, but we'll connect when we can. Communities of Benue South senatorial districts have described the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as real and impactful. This was at a two-day free medical outreach in Benue State. Charles Abba reports that the free healthcare is initiated alongside water projects in the areas by the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev.
Onu is 4 and suffers from hernia. So is 17-year-old Ona Calvin and Adanu Ogali, who is 50 and a father of 2, who has been with the ailment for over 10 years. They are beneficiaries of the free surgical operations.
When I went to Somanica hospital here, they told me that to operate this thing is 60,000. So as my parents did not have money, and I wait for some moment before they bring this free opportunity.
Since 3 years, I've been feeling it. Even my hand will not work again. But now, since they do the thing, my hand is always, all is free now.
This thing has been a bondage in my body, but no money to go for the operation. But today, I'm very happy that the operation has been done.
Illness. They have also been seen and given eyeglasses, their eyes being checked.
Initiator of the free Medicare, Professor Joseph Telmusev, represented by one of his aides, Emmanuel Ugande, emphasized the need to prioritize health of the people in addition to various water projects ongoing in the Benue South Senatorial District. From Otukpo, Charles Abba, NTA News.
All right, let's get to Ibadan now to join Kemi. Hello, Kemi.
Welcome to Ibadan. Convinced that government alone cannot adequately cater for the needs of the less privileged in the society, a non-governmental organization, Global Media Entertainment, GME, has prioritized feeding of the less privileged and people with disabilities in the country. To this end, food items and clothing have been distributed to the needy at the Juvenile Correctional Institution, Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Rafia Animation Badmos has the details.
As part of its corporate social responsibility, GMA has presented food items and clothing to the Juvenile Correctional Institution, Ibadan, to support government efforts and to provide succor to the vulnerable children for the benefit of the society.
And the choice of GMA, because of their passions for the people of disabilities and the vulnerable people, that is why this place was chosen to support the government and to help the vulnerables, most importantly, the people with the abilities.
In order to ginger them up, encourage them, and let them perform better. Now we've come to a juvenile home to give to them and encourage them to be a better citizen.
The donation, which was made through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Inclusion, Oyo State, would also provide essential services to the children with the aim of making them happy.
What they brought to the center to complement the effort of the state government in the provision of care and protection to orphan and vulnerable children. We go a long way in catering for the children.
Among the items presented were bags of gari, cartons of noodles, and crates of eggs. Established in May 2007, Global Media Entertainment, GME, is one of the world's leading media and entertainment groups. With headquarters in London, GMA has branches across Nigeria. In Ibadan, Rafia Animation Badmos, NTA News.
The new Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Bimbola Owade I, has been advised to reconcile all traditional rulers in Yoruba land for the growth and development of the Yoruba nation. A professor of history at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Professor Shinyebola Oyeweso, gave the advice while delivering a lecture in Oyo town.
In his lecture titled Alaafin History and Modern Leadership, Prevent the Legacy and Defining Future, Professor Shinyebola Oyeweso described Oyo Empire as one of the prominent and foremost empires in Africa, whose tentacle cuts across some parts of the African sub-Sahara and whose impact could not be underestimated in the areas of culture and tradition. University Don also appealed to Alaafin Owade to serve as an umbrella for the people of Oyo town, irrespective of ethnic and religious affiliations.
Oyo history is rich and profound, and there are many works that have been done on the history of Oyo. We'll be visiting many times from now.
Some of the dignitaries who were present at the epoch-making events, while applauding the organizers of the lecture for their ingenuity, stressed the need for unification among all and sundry.
The question of salience and institutional adaptability that is clearly a hallmark of the history, modern history of Oyo and the institution of the Alaafin.
Our new Alaafin, the Oba, should look at the history of Oyo, look at the history of the kings in Oyo, and pick his role models.
Other activities at the event included traditional tree planting, cultural display, and presentation of gifts.
And that's it from Ibadan. Ruth, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Kemi. Stakeholders in the agricultural sector are calling for investment in the sector towards enhanced food sufficiency and affordability as the rains set in. Joy Uzo in this report captured the views of some experts as they explored best avenues to harness the potential in Nigeria's agricultural sector.
Nigeria's agricultural sector is a cornerstone of the economy, holding immense potential for growth and diversification, particularly in food security and export opportunities. A major recession in 2016, when global crude oil prices crashed, reawakened the move by the federal government to diversify the economy away from oil. This move over time has evolved with renewed investments in the sector. Local rice farming improved significantly, leading to citizens increasingly patronizing locally produced grains. Despite these prospects, the sector has been fraught with challenges which have hindered its growth.
But realistically, is it working? Even if it works, maybe 2-3% is a system we need to be sanitized.
Only few percent, handful of people that are into farming, which is wrong. It is wrong. How can 10% feed 100% of the population? It's not supposed to be so.
When I was in London and when I also was in America, these foods are the cheapest things you can buy. When you first get that going, the people will think less. When they do this in open farm, bring out all the equipment, focus well.
Observers note that a cheap labor force for large-scale farming will also enable mass production of cash crops like cocoa, oil palm, and cashew, which are in high demand in international markets. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
All right, let's join our correspondent Kingsley Amajiri there in Port Harcourt to speak to this issue of investment in the agri sector in the state. Kingsley, what do you have for us?
Ruth, would like to welcome you to Port Harcourt. Of course, the rains are here and the stakeholders want investment to be increased in the agricultural sector. Given the past experience Nigerians had with respect to food security and high cost of food across parts of the country, many are expecting that now that the rains are here, there should be an increased investment in this sector. Key concern to those who are in the agricultural sector is that very few percentage of Nigerians are into agriculture, and now they want the government to begin to consider putting more fund in agriculture, especially this time around that there is a number of innovations by way of research that have come out on how to improve on agriculture in terms of investing and interest, especially for the younger generation taking interest into agriculture. There are a number of key stakeholders are calling on the authorities to take a look at the agricultural value chain, what should be done differently if the nation experienced a form of food scarcity in the past, though people have also attributed it to the lack of interest in that sector. Those who are also involved in agriculture are asking for improved seedlings, investment by way of provision of fertilizer, and of course, how do you attract the younger generation into agriculture? It's also a way of funding the sector. This is what key stakeholders want the government to do differently this time around. And for some, this investment in this regard appear not to be coming. Why the private sector might be driving the process, there is also the need, those who have also advocated for support by way of funding the sector, and also communicating new innovations in that sector to get more persons interested in agriculture. These are key issues they want critical stakeholders to consider, especially now that we are in the rainy season. There should be a shift from the way agriculture is practiced to agriculture that will bring value to the people, and also the processing of agricultural produce should also be taken into cognizance this time around.
Okay, Kingsley, thank you for that. That's the much we can take from your end. I know there's so much he has to tell us, especially as he's also planning to be a prospective farmer, I'm sure. As a civil servant, that's the least you could do extra. Well, and another aspect that needs investment is education. Now, imagine a child in a remote or hard-to-reach community, eager to learn in a well-equipped classroom, guided by qualified teachers, surrounded by adequate learning materials, and supported by a conducive learning environment. Well, this is the vision of the Federal Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Universal Basic Education Commission, that is UBEC, which seeks to realize through the launch of the School-Based Management Committee School Improvement Program and the Teacher Development Program. As part of this initiative, well, the federal government has disbursed approximately 2.035 billion naira to about 1,147 schools across the country. Let's see that.
The School-Based Management Committee School Improvement Program is a strategic initiative designed to place communities at the heart of school governance, ownership and accountability. By equipping school-based committees with the right tools, training and resources, the program will empower stakeholders to drive meaningful change in their schools. According to the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, the program goes beyond upgrading physical infrastructure. It's also about deepening citizen participation in promoting grassroots democracy in education.
We have found the federal government support for UBEC 2025 to 2027 board commitment, which will construct over 7,000 new UB facilities, provide 1.7 million units of classrooms furniture, renovate 195,000 classrooms nationwide.
We are unleashing the promise of a nation, the promise that every Nigerian child, no matter their circumstances or location, deserves a solid start to life through quality basic education.
In a similar effort to enhance teaching quality, the Teacher Professional Development (TPD) program will see a further 22 billion naira disbursed to train 224,000 teachers across the country. These substantial investments, the government says, are designed to build strong partnerships between schools, communities and the government, with one goal in mind: delivering quality education for every Nigerian child.
All right, Benin is our next stop, and Amuli is set to bring us reports from her end.
Good afternoon. You're welcome to Benin. Security is top burner as the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has brought the Army recruitment drive to Edo State to address the continuous low participation of citizens in the Army recruitment process. He was at the Government House in Benin to seek the support of the state government in addressing the issue. Goodluck Enaini reports that the Chief of Army Staff delegation was led by Brigadier General Wilto Nzidi.
Serving in the nation's military is being described as a contribution to safeguarding the nation's security. But for some time now, Edo State has recorded low number of participation in the yearly Nigerian Army recruitment exercise. However, at the time of this report, the 2025 Army recruitment portal indicates that only 194 persons had registered in Edo compared to Kaduna, Adamawa, and Bauchi states with 2,393, 1,701, and 1,136 respectively. Leader of the delegation from the Chief of Army Staff solicits the support of Edo State government in sensitizing the youth. In this regard, describing the Army as an organization with enormous prospects.
Between now and the next couple of days, based on what the state is going to be doing in terms of this sensitization within and around the state, we should be competing with other states.
Representative of the Governor and Chief of Staff, Ganiu Audu, assured the visitors of effective collaboration.
We are going to sustain the sensitization program that we started through the electronic media. We will get this information disseminated to the grassroots.
Recalled, the Army paid similar visit to the state government on the same account of low participation during the 87th regular recruitment exercise 2 years ago. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
Now, away from security, the year is in its second quarter and the market situation continues to offer a mixed experience for buyers and sellers, with gradual drop in prices of some food items offset by an increase in others. Joe Abel was in markets in Benin for survey.
Prices of essential commodities have dropped compared to the beginning of the year. A 50 kg bag of rice, which was sold over 130,000 naira in January, now goes for 95,000 naira. A 20-litre keg of red oil, previously 55,000 naira, is now 40,000 naira, while groundnut oil of the same quantity has dropped from 55,000 naira to 43,000 naira. The price of a bag of onion has seen a significant reduction from 280,000 naira to 80,000 naira, while a bag of beans, which was 125,000 naira, now sells for 115,000 naira.
All the rice came down. They were in their hundreds last year, but January started coming down.
Onion they reduce money. Now we are selling back now 80, 85.
Some buyers, however, expresses concern that despite the reductions, prices are still generally high.
If you want cook soup now, if you know 3,000 for fish, you don't feel bad.
The only thing that I saw that the price came down was red oil.
While there seems to exist an unpredictable pricing landscape for buyers and sellers to navigate, many believe that a drop in transportation costs will make food items more stable and affordable.
If governments can make fuel to come down more, price now, if you sell rice 70,000 naira, 60,000 naira.
The transport where they take carry these things, they come. Now make this thing they high every day.
They also want other issues which challenge production and supply to be addressed. In Benin, Joy Egbo, NTA News.
That's it from Benin. Nationwide will continue in Abuja with Ruth right after this break.
Thank you for staying with us. And next will be Sports Update.
16 teams will battle for honors in the round of 16 at the ongoing Africa Women's Volleyball Club Championship in Abuja. Nigeria's chief of Naval Staff Volleyball Club will lock horns with Leto team of Cameroon at the Gymnasium Hall, Package B of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium by 12 p.m. Host Nigeria Customs face Kenyan Commercial Bank by 6 p.m. Tuesday, while Monday has been declared as match-free day to enable the players to gain some rest ahead of their match this Tuesday. Meanwhile, to enhance coaching standards in Nigeria, the Nigeria Football Federation has organized an NFF CAF B license course for coaches from various football associations and clubs, focusing on their development. The course is being held at the FIFA Go project in Package B of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, with over 25 coaches participating.
I think this is a long overdue training that you are supposed to have for the first 7 years. But we thank God today we're here. And the key thing is, I know at the end of the day, they will be better off than how they came in for the truck.
If you don't have quality coaches, you don't have elite coaches, definitely it will affect the performance of the players and, of course, the league itself.
100% convinced that they will all do well, but I'm not certain everybody will come out with distinction, which is normal.
And finally, Southampton's manager has stepped down following the club's confirmed relegation from the Premier League. The 49-year-old Ivan Juric took over Rusumanti in December and managed only one win in his 108 days in charge, leaving the team at the bottom of the table, just as he found them. With sports updates, Omoyeme Unobo, NTA News.
The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Rabadu, led the federal government's delegation on a condolence visit to Bauchi State over the demise of a renowned Islamic scholar, Dr. Idris Abdulaziz Dusan Tanshi, who passed away at 78. The National Security Advisor, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, have appreciated the efforts put in place by the Islamic cleric in the promotion of peace and stability. Bulka Afsa reports.
The federal government delegation's visit under the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, demonstrates the respect for the deceased Islamic scholar and his contributions to the Islamic community, in line with the government's commitments to promoting peace and understanding among Nigerians. The Foreign Affairs Minister, Yusuf Maita Matuga, while condoling the family of the late Chief Imam of Dus and Tenshi Mosques, described him as a man with a vast Islamic knowledge who was truthful and straightforward.
I've come to condole the families of those that lost their lives. For instance, the Imam of Bauchi. There is Sheikh Idris, who also passed away, and several others.
In Bauchi, Bulak Afsa, NTA News.
And that completes Nationwide. Thank you very much for being part of it. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.